Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're delving into a thriller, a book called Back to Somalia. It's written by a terrific author. His name is Glenn Bell. This gripping thriller follows Ethan Breaux, a special ops pilot turned civilian who is recruited by the CIA for a high-stakes mission in Somalia. With heart-pounding military skirmishes and a daring rescue operation, this book promises to keep you on the edge of your seat, and it will do just that. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the folks at City of Books for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing this amazing book. The links are below the interview. Glenn, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Well, Logan, I'm very pleased to be with you today.
Well, great having you on the show. As I said, this is a thriller of a thriller, a true page turner of a book. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind Back to Somalia.
Well, Logan, when I think back about what inspired me, it was a discussion I was having with an old friend of mine. Now, the discussion we were having was, what was I going to do in my retirement from a position as a captain for Aloha Airlines? I was flying passengers to and from Hawaii. Now, he suggested I write a book about my years flying military helicopters and, of course, flying passenger aircraft. Now, at the time, we were at lunch. I was on the island of Maui. We were looking out over the beautiful Pacific Ocean. I got to admit, I was sipping on a Heineken, where I started to write out a plot of a potential book on a napkin when the recent news of the pirates off the coast of Somalia had hijacked the Maersk Alabama cargo ship. It came to my mind. That really blew my mind that it was so easy for the pirates to hijack the ship because there are no defensive weapons allowed on commercial ships. Now, the bad guys eventually were killed by the U.S. Navy, but the lawless nature of pirates in and around Somalia stuck in my mind.
So that inspiration coming from your past military life brought this to fruition. The character Ethan Breaux is very, very interesting. Somewhat autobiographical, I would presume.
Well, in many ways it is. Of course, I was a warrant officer flying every helicopter that the Army had, almost every helicopter. And you know, I've done a lot of training over the years, and that was reflected in the book, yes.
Well, have you envisioned this as a movie, perhaps? I think it would be a blockbuster, if you ask me.
Well, yes. In fact, I have shown the movie, or people have shown the book to a number of movie companies, and they have written very, very favorable reviews of the book, patted me on the back for my screenplay. And, you know, like a lot of people in that business, they take it back to the shop, and it's on the shelf with a number of other projects that they're considering.
So we'll see. You never know. Putting the work out there, though, is important. It's like a message in a bottle. You never know in whose hands it'll turn up. And, you know, hopefully this gets made. Maybe Christopher Nolan will pick it up and turn it into a film. That would be terrific. Who would play Ethan Breaux, my friend, in the movie version?
Well, I honestly don't know. But I would like to point out about this book that it's not like the West Coast or the East Coast characters that you see in movies. The characters in this book are mostly from the South. And in fact, the main character is Cajun. He's from Louisiana. He's an educated guy, but he's a guy from the deep South. And so I would hope to have an actor that, you know, is from the South. I'm not talking about a deep Southern accent, but, you know, that's the character in the book.
Somebody who understands the lifestyle, the culture, who has lived a life a little bit, maybe somebody who's even former military. That'd be great. I know Clint Eastwood, when he was putting together a film not too long ago, used the real life heroes who stopped a train hijacking in Europe and had those real life heroes played the part. So Casting can be quite creative, and it can be quite impactful as well. Was there any challenging part to writing this book?
Challenging parts for writing the book. I had to work with all of my friends who have flown, all of these machines with me at one time or another. I'm talking about everything from the Huey helicopter, which was a Vietnam icon, to Cobra attack helicopters, which I've flown quite a bit, and then to the Chinook. So I needed input from all of these people to make sure that the flying scenes within the book were realistic, and we did that.
Absolutely. Let's give the folks at home an overview of the book. Give them an idea of the story.
Well, the book Back to Somalia was caught me off guard here.
Oh, no worries.
The book Back to Somalia is about contractors. These are people who have flown many missions in Iraq and Afghanistan. And of course, the contractors take care of a lot of the business, take care of a lot of the missions that the Army wants to avoid these days, on the ground and in the air. And so that's what the movie was about.
Yep. And it's very, very realistic. There is also a nuclear intrigue with the weapon being stolen. Tell us a little bit about that plot line.
Well, everybody has heard, or you saw on the news for many years, that Iran had been collaborating with the North Korea on nuclear technology. Now, it occurred to me that if they were sharing nuclear technology in parts, the possibility that they would share one of their crude nuclear bombs was indeed likely. Now, I've always felt that the exchange of hardware did take place. And if that was the case, then it follows that it would be very possible for pirates to hijack the ship, transporting the nuke, and it would be housed somewhere in Somalia, likely Mogadishu.
Why is it that Somali pirates till this day are allowed to wreak havoc like they do on our vessels, including a lot of commercial freighters?
Well, the fact is that they are not allowed to have weapons to defend themselves on commercial vessels. And just like what's going on over there right now, the Houthis firing on commercial ships. Let's face it, not too many people are doing very much about that. And so we're paying a lot of money to have these ships go all the way halfway around the world to bring us goods and services and oil, of course. And the reason is you can't defend these ships, so they won't allow themselves to defend themselves.
Exactly. Yep. I have a friend who is a merchant marine who works on the Maersk lines. And every time they go in the Somali area, it is not a pleasant scene. That's for sure. What message do you hope readers take away from Back to Somalia?
Well, the overall book is you could say dedicated to the civilian contractors, these pilots and these ground forces that have worked in Somalia. And so it's dedicated to them. It's not just about military. And of course, the next thing is the whole plot of the book is the Hezbollah type of people. They didn't want to wait for Iran to get a hold of this nuclear weapon that was being shipped from North Korea to Iran. They wanted to head it off by making a deal with the pirates off of Somalia because they wanted to act immediately and to take that ship off the coast of Israel and to do some real damage. And so that's the plot of the book. And again, it's dedicated to a covert mission that was assigned to civilian contractors to go into Somalia to get that weapon back out of Somalia and prevent all of these bad things from happening.
Amazing. It is a great story. It's a thriller of a thriller, like I said in the beginning. Before we leave you today, let me get your thoughts on aviation. Which do you prefer, fixed wing or fling wing when you're a pilot?
Well, I love them both. When I have dreams these days, it's all about flying attack helicopters, the Cobra.
Yeah.
I cannot express to you what it's like to do that. Uh, Flying airplanes is a technical job, but you're going at a much faster airspeed and it's easier to control. Helicopters will go south on you real quick. That's why the joke about helicopter pilots is they never want to get too high in the air. They always want to be close to the ground so they can put it on the ground.
Exactly. I spent a lot of time in a helicopter when I was a news reporter in Atlanta, and I was with a former military guy who was great. He used to say to me, if you want, I can practice a crash and we can auto rotate down. And of course, I said, no, thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
As you,
Well, yeah. Auto rotation is as long as you have a place to put it that is not rough lava rocks or out in the ocean. Auto rotation is not really that hard. You just basically put the collective all the way down and keep a certain airspeed depending on the helicopter. And when you get within 50 or 100 feet, depending on the helicopter, you dissipate that energy in the rotor and put it on the ground. Now the problem is depicted in this book. When you land a helicopter, especially a big Chinook out in the ocean, not just the water, not just like the Hudson River as an example, but when you land out in the ocean, you got a real problem, and especially at night. And that's what is depicted in this book.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, it's a very exciting book. Congratulations on writing it. I think it's going to do very, very well. The name of the book is Back to Somalia. It's written by Glenn Bell. He's a real life military guy who has written about another military guy, Ethan Breaux, a former special ops pilot turned civilian who was recruited by the CIA for a high stakes mission in Somalia. The book features heart-pounding military skirmishes and a very daring rescue operation. It'll keep you on the edge of your seat. It'll keep you flipping those pages. And Hollywood, if you're listening, this would be a terrific film or series. Glenn, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you very much.
I appreciate your time, sir. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time, this time. Until next time on Spotlight.